What's up everyone, this is Michael Rogers. I'm a sound designer in Los Angeles, and today I'm going to show you how to rewire and route the audio from Ableton Live and Reason into Pro Tools. Rewire is a protocol that transfers audio and MIDI from one digital audio workstation to another, or allows the interaction of other standalone audio programs and devices like SoundMiner into your DAW. In many cases, this is going to eliminate the need for exporting, importing, and then time aligning audio files from one DAW to another. Instead, this process allows us to operate more in a real-time environment and focus on the flow of our creativity. Today I'm going to show you two different ways to rewire in Pro Tools. First, we'll take a look at rewiring a master stereo mix from another DAW. And then, we'll look at rewiring individual isolated tracks contained within another DAW. So getting started with our stereo mix, let's create a stereo auxiliary track. We'll label this Live. And then we'll insert a multi-channel plugin, Instrument, Ableton Live. So in the plugin window, we only have one field. This field can be changed. The field's value is an input that should correspond to the output of the particular track in the other DAW that you want to rewire into Pro Tools. So in this case, it's just signal flow. Most of the time, with most other DAWs, the output of the master track is going to show something like mix left and mix right. So in this case, let's take a look and see what Ableton Live's master output is. Mix left and right. So we hit play, and there's our drums. Very awesome. But this is only half of our band. So the rest of the band is hanging out in Reason, so let's do the same thing. Let's create a stereo auxiliary track, label it Reason, create a multi-channel instrument plugin, Reason. And again, it's going to be set to mix left and mix right. If you look at the rest of it, instead of buses like Ableton, it's showing channels. The only difference is just terminology, basically. And if we pull Reason over, here we go. There's the rest of our band right there. Boom. Awesome. So this is how you rewire the master stereo output from one DAW into Pro Tools. Next, we'll take a look at individual isolated tracks. In order to rewire individual tracks from another DAW into Pro Tools, first I have to isolate the individual tracks in the respective DAW. So, how I do that in Ableton is I change the track's output to rewire out. And now with nothing going to the master channel, that's going to free up mix left and right as bus 1 and 2. So I'm going to keep that for track 1. For track 2, I'm going to change that to bus 3 and 4. And for track 3, I'm going to change that to bus 5 and 6. So all the tracks are isolated in Ableton now. Now I need somewhere in Pro Tools for these individual tracks to go. So I'm going to create 3 stereo auxiliary tracks. I'm going to go ahead and label them beat 1, kick, and beat 2. Now, since these tracks are already selected, I'm going to hold Shift and Option, and that's going to put the same plugin window on each track for me. And all I have left to do now is route. So again, beat 1, track 1 was mix left and right, so that can stay the same. Track 2 was bus 3 and 4, and track 3 was bus 5 and 6. And there we go. We can check our work to know that these are individual tracks from Ableton by just pressing solo. There we go. That's beat 1. That's kick. And that's beat 2. Awesome. So there's our drums. To rewire in Reason, the outputs are located at the top of the rack in the hardware interface. The tracks are these instruments, and the master channel is this mixer. All we need to do to isolate these tracks is we're going to delete this mixer and then assign the main outs to one of these channels in the hardware interface. In this case, track 1 is assigned to channels 1 and 2, track 2, channels 3 and 4, and track 3, channels 5 and 6. So I've isolated these tracks in Reason, and now I need somewhere for them to go in Pro Tools. So again, I'm going to create 3 auxiliary stereo tracks. I'm going to label them Funk 1, Funk 2, and then Bass. And because these tracks are selected, I'm going to hold Shift and Option and then add my Reason instrument. Now I need to route. So track 1 was mixed left and right. That's channels 1 and 2 for Reason. Track 2 is channels 3 and 4. And track 3 is channels 5 and 6. So again, I should have my entire band playing the song in Pro Tools. Awesome, let's check our work. Okay, there's Funk 1. And there's Funk 2. And there's our bass. So now that we have the isolated tracks rewired into Pro Tools, to record them, all that's left to do is route the auxiliary tracks to audio tracks through Pro Tools' internal busing. Using Rewire creates a more efficient workflow for me, the people I collaborate with, and my clients. This has benefited the way that I create and operate as a sound designer exponentially. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, comment below or follow me on Twitter at Michael Rogers, MyKLROGERS. I hope that you find this video helpful and that it inspires you in some way to reach outside the box and to own your infinite creative potential.
Be water, my friend.